Alright, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you does not sound real, but it is shaking people to their core right now. This is one of those stories where you pause, look up from your phone, and ask yourself, wait, did this really just happen? Because the tension, the fear, and the implications of this whole situation are far bigger than a trending headline or a dramatic tweet. This is about real people, real villages, and a kind of uncertainty that sits heavy in the chest. While many families were still in that Christmas mood, pot on the fire, jollof rice steaming, laughter cutting through the harmattan air, something else was happening far above the clouds. On Christmas Day itself, December 25, 2025, the sky over northern Nigeria became something out of a war movie. Without warning to ordinary citizens, U.S. military power descended from the air. Cruise missiles, drones, precision strikes. All of it hitting targets in Sokoto State, right in the northwest. No slow build-up. No gradual escalation. Just sudden, overwhelming force. And then came the announcement that set everything on fire. President Donald Trump went online and claimed the attack proudly. Not quietly. Not diplomatically. He called it a Christmas gift. His words, not anyone else's. He said he personally authorized the strikes to punish groups he accused of slaughtering Christians. According to him, the targets were ISIS-linked camps and a relatively new armed group known as La Kurewa, accused of spreading terror across rural communities. He framed it as a warning fulfilled, saying he had promised hell to pay if the killings didn't stop, and that Christmas night was payday. Now pause right there. Because this is where fear entered the room and refused to leave. On paper, terrorism is terrorism. Bandits are bandits. In real life, in northern Nigeria, violence doesn't check your religion before it strikes. Mosques have been attacked. Churches have been attacked. Muslim villages, Christian villages, grief has been evenly distributed. So when a foreign superpower storms in and frames its military action almost entirely around protecting one religious group, it sends a chilling message to everyone else. In rural Muslim communities, that message didn't land as reassurance. It landed as panic. People started asking questions nobody should have to ask just to feel safe in their own homes. Are they coming for anyone who lives near these so-called targets? If they say they are here for Christians, where does that leave us? What happens if they get the intelligence wrong? Because when missiles start flying, there is no undo button. Sokoto is not just any place. This is the seat of the Sultan. A symbol. A spiritual heartland. And suddenly, it feels like a front line. The emotional shift on the ground has been dramatic. At first, there was cautious relief that armed groups were being hit. But that relief quickly curdled into dread. Because the language coming from Washington didn't sound like neutral counterterrorism. It sounded personal. It sounded ideological. And in a country as fragile as Nigeria, that kind of framing is gasoline on dry grass. What makes this even heavier is what happened next. Instead of outrage from Abuja, there was confirmation. The Nigerian government acknowledged that it was aware. Officials admitted intelligence was shared. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs didn't deny cooperation. In fact, they leaned into it. Reports started circulating that this collaboration might be tied to military deals, advanced helicopters, weapons systems, strategic favors. On a geopolitical chessboard, maybe it makes sense. But tell that to a farmer in Sokoto. Tell that to a family in Zamfara. Tell that to someone who hears a drone hum overhead at night and wonders if their roof is about to disappear. Diplomatic explanations don't come people who feel like targets by proximity. And just when you think the situation couldn't feel more unhinged, zoom out. This wasn't the only aggressive move tied to the US president in that same window of time. Days later, on January 3, 2026, US forces reportedly launched a midnight operation in Venezuela and seized President Nicolas Maduro, flying him straight to New York to face charges. A sitting head of state. Snatched. Now connect those dots. If one man can order airstrikes in Nigeria on Christmas Day and greenlight the capture of a foreign president days later, what exactly is off the table? That's the question haunting people. This isn't just about what already happened. It's about the terrifying uncertainty of what could happen next. That fear deepened when America's defense leadership hinted that the Christmas strikes were not the end of the story. A simple phrase, "more to come," was enough to keep villages awake at night. Because more could mean anything. More bombs. More raids. More mistakes. More funerals. And here's the most dangerous part of all, the narrative. Yes, everyone wants terrorists stopped. No sane person celebrates violence. But when security is packaged as a religious mission, when bombs are justified as protection for one faith, the consequences ripple far beyond the battlefield. It risks turning a shared security crisis into a religious divide. It risks rewriting complex local conflict as a holy war. And history has shown us, again and again, how badly that ends. So while some people are applauding from afar, the people closest to the blast zones are living with something else entirely: fear, confusion, and the sense that powerful men far away are making decisions with language that could tear communities apart. This was not just an airstrike. It was not just foreign intervention. It was a message. And right now, the villages of northern Nigeria are the ones absorbing the shockwaves, staring at the sky, wondering whether silence means safety, or simply the pause before the next strike.